Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fully Corked podcast. Charlie here, as always, joined by my co host, John.
Yo.
Excited to get into it today. We have an interesting wine here that I'll hold up to the camera, La Granja 360. It's a Verdejo and Viura wine. So, I'm not sure exactly what those translate to. It's Spanish. It does, as you saw, have a peacock on the front, and in my typical way, I was persuaded that the wine might be fun because of the peacock. And so we'll see if it is. It's another Trader Joe's bottle. This is very, very cheap.
Yeah.
I believe this clocked in at $6.
It's about twice as expensive as most bottles of wine we were drinking when we were studying abroad in Barcelona back
That's
in our
true.
time
That's
in
true.
Spain together.
This would have been fine wine for us back then, dude. It's funny that that's kind of the wine we were drinking out there. Yet we were willing to drop €15 on one slice of jamon iberico, and I'd do it again. That is for anybody considering studying abroad or going to Spain. Just bring about €1,500 just for jamon iberico because it is tops. There's just no better meat, straight, like flat out, for breakfast, for a snack, for dinner. Eat the meat straight, like with cheeses, with wines. It works in everything, and it is amazing.
I got sold so hard on the Iberico dream too. I don't know where it was that we first heard of this ham, but it's like the finest meat in all of the land. It's probably a waiter at a restaurant, like a nicer restaurant, just going, "Oh, you haven't tried the Iberico? Grass-fed, free-range, rare pig."
We need to have more Spanish wines because if it allows us to reminisce on Barcelona, that's always going to be a good time.
I mean, that's exactly where my head goes when I was looking at this and picking it out in the Trader Joe's wine aisle. Though I think this was your sommelier that helped you out,
This was
right?
the sommelier. Yeah, that was actually so. I think I'm going to mention this on the other pod, but it was kind of a weird happening that happened twice that day when my dad got fan of the week for just totally getting me out of a bind. But we're in Trader Joe's, and the sommelier comes up to us and says to me, "What are you and your buddy looking for?" Like, me and my dad, calls my dad my buddy, like didn't want to venture a familial relationship or anything like that. So I thought that was kind of strange. I thought it was funny. But Bruce afterwards is like, that was weird.
Yeah.
And then we go to the impound lot, and that guy's calling him my wingman. And it's like nobody's trying to like identify what this is. Is it that normal? Are both the Trader Joe's wine section and the impound lot seeing 28 and 72-year-olds just chilling enough where it's like, oh, that's his buddy. That's his buddy. Yeah. I mean, it's just strange.
Coming out from your dad's point of view, I wonder which he disliked more, being known as your wingman
No,
or your
wingman
buddy.
is hilarious. Wingman, like, buddy, I just feel like was a very safe choice. And like when I use the word buddy, it can be genuine, but I feel like if you're big broing somebody, call him buddy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's like a little condescension to it. Not that the sommelier was using it that way, but wingman's funny because it implies that him and I are like, I don't know, up to no good somehow. Like he's my wingman. He's gonna get me out of a bind. Like things get sticky, I lean on the wingman.
It was a shot at your competency a little bit.
Yeah,
You need a wingman in the impound lot?
dude, actually, when it comes to routine things like that everybody should know how to do, or like, for example, changing a tire, really anything car related, a lot of other basic skills, I kind of do appreciate having a wingman because those are not my forte. Or say that I have like a home improvement project that's totally capable with the strength and power of one man or woman. I like to have a wingman there because like I guess I just don't have the reps or the confidence to be like, I'm going to do this the right way the first time. It's at least good to have like another mind to kind of have as a sounding board.
I like
of,
the
like,
moral support aspect too.
yeah, even if I'm doing everything, it's good to have somebody there.
Next time you're putting together an IKEA dresser, I'll come over and I'll crack a beer, but I'll crack a bottle of wine.
Good save.
Yep.
Good save.
And I will sit back and I will just tell you how good of a job you're doing the whole time.
That would be, yeah, the moral support is appreciated. So let's jump in to what's happened in the last week.
For me, just some like kind of funny things to report on. So the first, I'm kind of deeming this like algorithm craziness, the Instagram algorithm, the Google algorithm. So to get into it, a while back, one of my friends said that he wanted to have a bottle of wine and he didn't want to spend a lot, but he wanted to have a good bottle of wine. So I recommended
Big churn.
no. Yeah, no, I would never recommend that. And I'm sorry
No.
to the listeners that did end up buying that to watch along with us. That was garbage.
Yeah, it was tough.
But you know what I went with is Kim Crawford, which is a
Mm.
Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Very, very serviceable wine. It's approachable. It's solid, and you're not going to go wrong with that. So I basically told him, go get Kim Crawford. I think I texted it to him. 2 weeks later, he starts getting Kim Crawford wine ads, like in his Facebook feed and his Instagram feed. It's just popping up everywhere. And so on that one, I think that's okay. Clearly the algorithm got you, but I mean, fair point. You went and you bought Kim Crawford. I don't know how it knows you bought that, but it recognizes that you like this. Maybe it was reading our text or
I
spying
bet
on
it.
us.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think it's the text because they'll even like the voice recognition. Like if you were like sitting near your phone or near his phone, and you guys just kept saying Kim Crawford, I'm convinced that the phone can like somehow take that and alter your ads,
Yeah,
which seems like super illegal.
it must not be.
It's something that
Yeah.
happens because
Well, so here's the crazy one. I got one to outdo that story. So earlier this week, a friend of mine was visiting in town. He's actually living in New Zealand right now.
mm,
Awesome to get him to come over, hang out, and we decided to grill. And we just grilled like this huge piece of beef chuck, marinated. It was awesome.
nice in your backyard.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
For a big daddy piece of meat like that. I mean, we were pushing a kilo.
You go with the bold red, right?
We did go with the bold red. We went with a Syrah, which was great. Yeah,
Nice.
downed it.
Yeah.
I also was like, okay, you got a big piece of meat on that grill. You know what you need is some heavy artillery to cut it with. So I pull out the Japanese knife that I got as a
Ooh,
souvenir from Kyoto. He goes out there, he like cuts open our steak with the Japanese knife. It's just buttery smooth, goes right through.
nice.
2 days later, he gets an Instagram ad for Japanese knives and one that looked exactly
What?
like mine. This is where it's a trip because he didn't Google anything. We used this just within our, I guess, life. You know, it wasn't like I was sending him a text or a DM or anything that would tip Google off. I
Yeah.
do have a Google Home in my kitchen, and I'm
Yeah,
starting to
it's
wonder if I'm getting
listening to
like
you,
a
dude. It's
spy.
listening to you. I'm fairly certain there is some sort of unethical probing or unconsented probing to audio near your robots.
It's in the terms and conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just in those terms and conditions that they make it like 800 pages. And on page 642 in fine print, it says, we can spy on you and use every word against you and to market to you.
Yeah, and we'll sell all your data and you'll never escape the things that you say. I'm trying to think. I haven't had a terrible example of that recently, but that absolutely happens. And I feel like more than anything I notice it when I'm talking about it, but I suppose I probably text about the things that I like talk about near my
I
phone
think
too.
you are going to get either a Japanese knife commercial or probably a Kim Crawford commercial.
I will follow up. I will follow you. You might get like an ad to renew the tabs on your car. The amount I've been talking about getting towed and like at an impound lot.
Yeah, it's happening. Yeah, so that happened. My other two are pretty short. So I was on a walk yesterday and I'm just chatting with Lindy, and all of a sudden, some guy is like coming up and he's on the phone. And it's one of those conversations you hear in passing, which just sounds hilarious. The only words I
Yeah,
hear out of this guy's mouth, casually, he just goes, I 100% disagree with everything you just said.
nice. That's a healthy relationship you're observing. That's good. That's open and honest communication.
Open and honest communication. Both her and I kind of paused and looked at each other and just started
Yeah.
laughing. Like, why couldn't we have heard more of what he was about to
Yeah.
divulge?
We should have got his number, had him call into the pod, figure it out. What was his demeanor? Was he or his tone?
Casual.
Was it angry or
No.
was it just he flew it out casual?
Casual.
You know what? Actually, I kind of just disagree with everything you just said.
That is exactly how he delivered it, which is even funnier. It's like this
Yeah.
guy is calm, collected, collected. Like
that's commonplace for him. He lives. He might just be like a ultra contrarian.
imagine being on the receiving end of that comment. I'm sure it was like a conversation not unlike what we're having now. You know, it seemed casual enough, but then I just hit you with, Charlie, I categorically disagree with literally every word that just came out of your mouth.
Your information is complete bullshit, John. It's complete bullshit. And it's 100% false. It's patently false. Yeah, that would be, I don't think I would do well with that because I so much enjoy being right. And not to say I don't venture things that aren't, that I don't venture things that aren't unfounded, are unfounded. I'm going too many negatives here, but I say a lot of things that could be wrong. I just don't like being wrong. So if somebody
Yeah.
comes up and just checks me like that. So if you were to shake this guy's hand, do you think he grabs your bicep? He could just be alphaing the person on the phone. You know what? You're wrong. You're really wrong. You're wrong about like everything.
You're so wrong. I want to hang up this phone right now, but I'm
Yeah,
keep
I'm gonna.
chatting.
You know what? Just check your facts. I'm gonna hang up. I'm just gonna hang up and enjoy my walk. You're bothering me now. You're wrong. Bye bye. That is awesome, dude. It's
Yeah,
powerful.
right? I mean,
I'll have to work that in.
Fun way to just eavesdrop on a mundane conversation. Yeah, so that happened. And then my last one, oh boy. So I dusted off and fired up the Xbox for the first time in months, maybe even first time in 2024. I mean, it's been forever. And I get on my favorite game that I always play with my brother. We sometimes play this to just catch up. We call each other. But dude, I get into the game and I completely suck. I am utterly useless. And I mean, why are all these 12-year-olds on summer break just cooking me right now? I mean, I was just getting dunked on. And so it was tough. It was like a you're past your prime moment for me in video games. And this is my best video game. So I don't even want to know about others. It makes me really discouraged to really ever play Xbox again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pull up in Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart when I have a little kid that I want to just teach him a lesson or teach her a lesson.
You've been very bad and you're wrong. So now we'll play a game and I will smash you as a learning.
That'd be a fun form of punishment for me.
Yeah. The other thing is I'll see clips of video games in my social media feed at the risk of sounding like a complete boomer. I'm just like, this is too complicated. I don't like the look of this. Like, this is getting like a little too high tech. I don't like it. Yeah, I kind of am living on the blissfully ignorant side of that because I haven't had a console since college. Or no. I had one briefly right after college, but I haven't checked. My most enduring game is just chess on my phone. Sometimes I'll play on my laptop too, but that's one where everybody of every age is probably better than me. Like the people on chess.com are just sick. Like they're so good. So it's fun. I mean, ultimately I've dropped enough games where I'm starting to play people who suck as bad as I do, but I do like it, even though it's humbling. It's a humbling game.
And
sure.
You've humbled me many a time in chess.
I mean, we got to throw some pieces around again soon,
Yeah,
but
we should.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, that's tough though. We're like we're the little. Did they have a mic? Was anybody like squeaking at you like a 12-year-old?
Oh my gosh. No, I'm so happy. I was just on a phone call with my brother. I'm sure they were chirping.
What was Andy saying? Was he kind of chirping too? I feel like he gets a little chippy.
He was mad at me. He said, John, you need to start having fun.
Oh man.
And I wasn't like,
oh, that's so tough, dude.
it was more of just like a I'm washed moment. Like I wasn't necessarily mad that I was losing every single game, but I used to be good at this game and I was just I was lost out there. Like people were running circles around me. It was a humbling experience that was nothing short of extremely frustrating.
This isn't like a perfect parallel, but similar to Andy saying, you just got to have fun. One of the things I heard the other day, as I'm not sure how much context I need to give for this, but I'm in kind of a high pressure moment and I hear somebody in my group kind of chattering behind me going, I've never seen Charlie nervous like this, as I'm like preparing to execute this high pressure thing. And I was just like, well, that's like really bad for my confidence. Like, I don't want to hear I'm outwardly nervous right now. Like, that's not good.
I'm going to use that one when I want to get in your head when we're playing golf or maybe when we're playing chess. That might be the way I get you.
That that would be good in chess. In golf, it's like if you need to go that if we are playing a close enough round where you have to tell me I'm looking nervous out there,
It's not good for
I'm,
me.
I'm sure I'll have enough ammo to fire back. Like you'd have to play the worst round of your life for us to be neck and neck. But yeah, so my week, I really don't have like a whole lot either. I had one funny gas station interaction where this guy in front of me, so I just gotten done hooping and I was trying to buy 2 Gatorades, and this guy in front of me buys a scratch off. I don't know exactly how much it was, and he asked the cashier, "Can you break 100?" And the cashier kind of looks at him funny and is like, I mean, we can. We don't really like to. And he's like, "Oh yeah, just break it. Just break it." And so the cashier takes forever. He's like counts all these fives, probably gives him 18 fives, a couple ones, and then like quarters and like change and stuff. And then the guy who requested to break the 100 is kind of looking at him funny. And he's like, "Really?" And then he literally says, "No 20s, really?" And the cashier is like, "This is what I told you, man. Like we're a gas station. Like we don't just break hundreds all the time. And there's also a US bank 1 block from here. Like if you want to go like bring your money up, bring the bill count lower and that like face value higher, go do it. But like what are you doing?" And so they kind of had this weird like evil energy standoff, and then they were both the guy in front of me too then looks at me and kind of shakes his head as if like he wasn't disappointed in me, but he was like trying to get my sympathy, like this is a bad institution. And I was just like, dude, I'm just trying to buy Gatorade. And so I put my Gatorades on the thing, and I'm seeing this guy, he's pressed, like he's short of sweating, but he is not having a good time after that. And he goes, "That'll be 650 cash or credit." And I look at him and I go, "You mind breaking 100?" And
Oh.
then I start laughing. So he was less pressed, but there was one moment where I saw in his eyes where it was like, "Oh my, I might have died last night and now I'm in hell."
Yeah, his answer probably would have just been no.
Yeah, dude, get the hell out of here.
That
Funny,
guy,
it's
the
like,
guy that asked to break the 100, I can like picture this where he's looking back at you to garner sympathy. I've been in a situation similar to that where I'm in a line. It's always in a line, and the person that you're standing behind is doing something nefarious, something like socially off, and
yeah,
then they don't realize it.
don't look at me, dude. You'll get no sympathy from me.
I probably don't agree with what you're upset about slash don't care, and I'm annoyed.
Yeah, you're wasting my time.
Yes.
Why are you don't do this. I totally agree. I didn't like that at all.
What'd you
At
do? How'd you
all.
respond to him? Did you scoff at him when
Well,
he turned back?
no, I mean, my reaction to that was I kind of started looking at the guy behind me because I was as if to say like, "You're looking at me? Like, why are you looking at me? You shouldn't be looking at me. Like, there's something behind me. Like, what's interesting?" It
Sir, I
was, yeah,
100% disagree with what
yeah,
you're
dude,
doing here.
you're so wrong right now. The other funny thing is this guy, so he's got kind of like white Oakley shades tucked up over his head, and he's wearing a sleeveless camo tee and like jeans. He's just kind of like, the fit didn't make me want to sympathize with him either. I was kind of like, this is routine for you, huh? Like you come in here and bully like the cashier. Unfortunately, some people had to experience just a little bit more stress, but I was trying to make light of it, have fun with the guy. And it was fun for me too, because it was just like, I know this is the last thing he would want me to say, and so I have to say it.
Oh, yeah, I do the
So
same thing. That's
I was
so
having a
fun.
good time,
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then two other things that'll be relatively quick. So I heard a quote unquote confession somebody told me about the pod, and this person told me that she listens to it at 1.75x speed, and I didn't have the heart in that moment to ask, "What speed do you listen to other podcasts at?" Because I was like, I don't think I want to know the answer. But then at the same time, I did a good job of putting on a brave face. Like I didn't cry, I didn't freak out, but I was forced to excuse myself to the restroom and collect myself a little bit after and just, think about that. Because it was like relatively unprompted too. And I was like, okay, well, all right, like I guess I'll have to get to my point faster, which I'm not doing right now. But that was, I don't know if you've heard anything like that, but that was, I
No.
figure might as well share some feedback.
Did she end her sentence or end what she just said with "take that"?
No.
The only time I've ever heard about listening on an elevated speed is when you're trying to get through your, like, dry, boring chapters of a textbook in school. I've tried it, I still can't do it, but I know that's the only time I've heard that people listen on an increased speed.
I'll listen on an increased speed if I'm like, there's some podcasts that I'll listen to for work that are like completely informational. And that's similar to the textbook thing where you're kind of like, I'm focused on it so I can pick it up faster and like we don't need to move slowly here. The other time that I changed my podcast speed, I read this thing on Reddit. So I love the Bill Simmons podcast. It's probably my favorite podcast of all time. And somebody on Reddit was saying if you put it to 0.5 speed, Bill always sounds like he is hammered drunk when he's talking. And it's so funny. I mean, obviously you don't listen to a whole pod like that, but I was
Yeah.
like listening to 5 minutes at a time, and it is hilarious. I wonder what we sound like at half speed.
I already talk
Um,
at 50% speed.
I know. That's why people are jacking it up to 175. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, maybe she was just, like, crushing content. Maybe she, like, had a
yeah.
marathon day and listened to 6 in a row or something.
Yeah,
We
that's
didn't think about
probably
that
it. She
reality.
was so excited about catching up that she had to put it into overdrive. I think that's right. I didn't ask, but like I'm
Charlie,
pretty
that's
sure that's right.
100% exactly correct.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. In this moment, you're actually not completely wrong. And then finally, last night had two different things, but ended at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park, and one of my one of my good buddies and like two of my high school classmates are in this band together, the Loons.
Great band. Shout out the Loons.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And they've been booking like a bunch of sick venues. They got another one coming up at Park Tab next month. Glicks. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but maybe in September, October. So like they're making like major moves. They're working on originals. It's sounding awesome. They do a lot of covers too. They're great. Their female lead singer is amazing. Like really it's super cool when you see somebody following, their creative kind of vision and just continuing to put in the time, and like they're seeing good results too. And the thing that's sweet about it is for me in a very selfish way is it's it's such a call to action to all of our peers. It's like, why the hell wouldn't you go get a drink at this place and listen to them? Like all your buddies are going to be there, the music's gonna be good. Like you can look cool talking to members of the band after.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
what I'm
sweet.
all
So
about.
yeah, it's like a cloud. It's a cloud thing.
It's fun.
Yeah, you feel like slightly celebrity adjacent when
Yeah.
you know the band. And the other thing that was fun, so the bassist is an incredibly handsome Serbian guy. I bring him to the bar after, and I buy him. He was talking to me. He had listened to one of the pods, and he was just saying, if you talk about Bananagrams again, I'm going to kill you. I'm sick of hearing about Bananagrams, and you're just not as good at Bananagrams as you think you are. So
And here we are talking about it.
I know. I'm running a big risk. That's why I had to, rightfully call him, a tall, handsome Serb.
2021 champion in Grand
Yeah,
Marais.
I was Grand Marais champion. Yeah, we could cut that, but probably not. And then I buy him in as an appreciation for listening to the pod. We each get the house white at Park Tap, and I
That's
was
awesome.
like, let's talk about it. What notes are you getting? And it's a Chardonnay. It wasn't bad for like just a bar's house drink. And I can't remember his exact verbiage, but I'm pretty sure he was describing it as fun juice. Maybe if he's listening to this again, thank you for listening. But also, you'll have to get back to me with exactly the review. I don't want to come not verbatim. But all in all that's to say, big shout out to the Loons and what they're doing. It's awesome. Super fun. Made my Thursday night awesome.
Maybe the Loons could make us an intro/outro jingle.
Dude, I'll talk with them. We'll certainly have to play a nice finder's fee if we're gonna
Yeah.
get something that
It
type of
seems like
quality,
they're
but
bigger than we might be able to get
Oh
at this
yeah,
point.
yeah. I think they are. Like it is packed. Every time I go to any of their gigs, like it's packed.
That's
So
awesome.
they're doing great. They're doing great. So we went a little bit out of order here, but I actually don't hate this because it has allowed us to try the wine a
Yep.
little bit more before we blast off some takes on it. So John's doing the blind tasting. I've done a little reading about the notes and what have you. And now that I look at the back of the bottle, I realize I called it a 70-30 split Verdejo and Viura, which are two different types of Spanish grapes, but it's 75-25. I don't know how much that will help you, John. That was not intended to be a hint or anything, but just for the sake of clarity and accuracy. But again, Spanish white, it's a blend, and I'll turn it over to you as you become ready.
I so badly wish that was a hint, but that does nothing for me.
As I've been tasting this, well, I'll let you go, but I just think this one doesn't give you a whole lot. Like, I think this is going to be a tricky one.
So I can say out of the gate, now that I have been sipping it a little bit, I actually really like it for its cheap price point. I would put my stamp of approval on this. I think it's a little sweet.
Maybe before you venture a flavor of any kind, are you picking up anything on the nose?
Maybe this is just because I did a blind tasting of a New Zealand Sauv, but I'm starting to get some grass clippings on the nose, and then I'm getting a little bit of. I know there's going to be some citrus in here. It's high acidity, which is like the number one giveaway that you can say a white wine has a citrus note. I'm probably feeling like a little bit of lime. Dude, I got like kind of a weird one on the aftertaste. So let me have one more sip and I'll see what I can venture. Yeah, I'm tasting a little bit of banana in here.
Really?
Yeah. So my flavor profile is grass
Ooh.
clippings, freshly cut grass. I have a little bit of citrus, which is manifesting in lime over lemon, and then I'm getting banana as an aftertaste on the palate. There are no tannins in here. It's not tannic. I would say
It's
very
crisp.
light body,
Pretty
but
smooth,
pretty smooth.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wild. I really, if I had my notes in front of me, I would have reacted more to you getting banana here because it is described as having a strictly fruity quality. In parentheses, banana, comma, not citrus tones. I don't even know if this is a word. Citric tones, which I imagine is citrus. Doesn't tell me if it's lime or lemon. I mean, that getting banana is
Dude.
insanity, dude.
Wow. Well, I promise I didn't look ahead or anything. I didn't cheat. I don't even know what type of wine this is.
I hid this too. You couldn't have found that. What the hell, dude? Banana? Wait,
Do,
let me
do you
try
taste
this
it?
again. Dude, my kind of like it's not even necessarily an issue, but it's an issue when you're trying to identify flavors. I mean, it's obviously fruity, but it's not like I feel like I'm not being hit over the head with a fruit flavor or like an identifiable note of a certain fruit, you know?
Citric.
Yeah,
I
it's
think I
certainly
think it's the acidity, which now I'm learning if you know that it's acidic, go with if you really have to come up with like a tasting note on the fly, go with either lemon or lime. That's generally going to be safe. And then in that other one that we had, the Nikau Point, wasn't it grapefruit,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a citric fruit?
And like a relatively like bitter, sour,
Right.
like
Yeah.
which I think, that was pretty good actually, that bottle. So I mean, these are really I would consider this impossible with my level of knowledge, but I'll give you a shot at it because you're hot right now. So I'm gonna let you try and fill in the blank. A fresh bouquet with floral tones, which reminds of aromatic herbs such as blank and blank. You're looking for aromatic herbs. I would say if you gave me 100 guesses to fill in either of those two words, I would not get them.
Well, I'll raise you
So
two correct answers:
please,
elderberry and juniper flower.
John, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You are absolutely wrong. Uh, it is so anise, like star anise. Have you ever cooked with that?
I don't even know what that is, honestly.
I mean I have a very loose understanding, but my brother, who's a really good chef, and his wife, they've made some meat dishes with that. So I mean, I guess I kind of know what it is. The other one's fennel.
Oh wow, I
Couldn't
never eat
really.
fennel. Never eat
I don't
it.
even what it.
Kind of gross, dude.
Yeah, can you describe fennel to me?
Barely.
Okay,
It's
let me look it
it's
up.
kind of like a thicker green that is
Oh,
just not that appetizing. To be dead honest, like I don't like fennel.
I'm trying to figure out where is this like in pizza or like where is
Yeah, you
fennel?
put it in pizza. You can make it. You can put it in a salad. I think like a lot of elevated chefs cook with it because it's kind of a tricky ingredient. So if you can cook well with
Dude,
it, but I've tried to cook with fennel, and every time I undercook it, and it tastes like complete.
are you cooking only with like the stock and the green of it?
Yeah,
Because they have like this fat white bulb on them that
I don't use the fat white bulb.
I am seeing a YouTube video about roasted fennel, and the final result, it looks horrible. Like just nightmare level bad. I'm sure it's all right, but I
Maybe
don't.
not, dude. I've never had a positive experience with fennel, except for maybe in
Dude,
this wine.
also weird thing. So anise, the only thing I know about it, or star anise is my how I know it. Maybe there's other types, but it's got like a little bit of a licorice flavor. So
Oh,
that's kind of I think what you could liken that one to.
hmm.
But fennel, I have no idea. This is also an entirely vegan wine, has not used any animal products in its production process.
I'm
So
sorry,
when I
but what
read
does that
this,
mean?
yes, that is the
Is
question
this like
because
fertilizer with cows, or I mean, like, what do you mean? Like my Napa Valley cab that's not vegan is
I
like
feel like they're not throwing bone marrow into the production process. So like I have the same question. I have no idea what the hell that means.
an animal cruelty free wine. What could
Yeah,
that possibly mean? These are grown. These are crops on a farm. At the end of the day,
it's confusing, but it is something to like throw on your label, I guess.
I mean, can't any wine throw that on there? I mean, I don't want to drink a wine that's been cooked with an animal in it. Like that can't
No,
possibly be good.
no, I don't think so. It's at least we haven't tried it. We haven't tried it yet.
I
So
prefer my Napa Cabernets with beef broth. It's a blend.
I'll do 30% cab sauv, 70% chicken stock, if you would. So what do you think this would pair well with? Or do you want I'm asking a lot of questions. This is above and beyond on the blind taste test, but there's right answers outside of the pairing. You want me to just read the pairing?
I actually think
It's an entirely vegan wine.
oh, something about the evil side of me immediately wants to pair this with animal then. So I understand that the makers of this wine are probably
That is slapping the hint right in its face.
quite
But
upset.
continue.
You come up with your own. I personally think I would pair this with red snapper. A salted red snapper.
Ooh.
So
Oh.
freaking good. Have you ever had one of those like salted fish
Oh, yeah.
plates?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna bake it in salt, and then it's gonna come out with a nice side arugula salad. Throw a little bit of pecorino romano on there. Throw some balsamic, some citrus notes, like a little bit of lemon, and then finish with olive oil on top and some salt.
And then maybe, oh, just as you think your day can't get any better, from the side, they bring in one other little appetizer plate to that. A roasted fennel. Dude, no, that was pretty good. I mean, like green salads is in like the whatever, grilled vegetables, vegetarian rice dishes. So, I mean, I was trying to guide you towards that, but I think in terms of a meat seafood pairing, I mean, fish is as light as it gets, and like fish and white wine is classic. I
Classic.
mean, it's
Can't go
always
wrong.
gonna work, and especially like fresh Spanish fish, dude. Like that's where do wait actually, what was the most pushed fish when we were in Barcelona? Because like there was a ton of paella, obviously, but like I can't really recall what would have been like the specialty fish that, or like the most local fish to Barcelona. That's always like the catch of the day or
So red
things like
snapper is
that.
probably high up there. I'm sure halibut is relatively high up there, but the one that's always big time on the menus that when you order it comes out as a full freaking fish, like eyeballs and all, is the
Yeah.
branzino.
Yeah, dude, Branzino goes super, super
And I
hard.
feel like that in Barcelona was crazy good. I
Yeah.
personally love red snapper. It's like a very affordable fish that always tastes super good.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got to follow up on something you said last week.
Oh yeah?
So you had last week you were sick and you had been eating healthy, and then you had some mac and cheese. Do you feel better now?
Yes, I had multiple people text me about this. Apparently, so I'm slightly gluten intolerant. I just know
Mm.
this about myself. Like every time I eat pasta, which is probably every other day, I get
Mhm.
bloated, I get fatigued, I feel like shit. But when somebody that's very intolerant to gluten, that's like incorporated in their diet, gives it up, you can get like almost like a
A
flu. It's kind
withdrawal.
of like so I was going through gluten withdrawals because I actually felt I started feeling better literally like the next day after I made like a huge mac and cheese plate for myself that night, which is interesting because I know I'm intolerant to it. So I know I need to wean off kind of for good.
That's exactly where I was gonna go. Like the drug parallel there is perfect.
Right.
Like the drug destroys you and makes you feel like garbage, but the lack of the drug does the same thing, if
Yes.
not worse.
Which is actually
You gotta
great
wean off.
information to know for me, where I'm like, okay, I'm actually addicted and my body is addicted to this substance that is, I guess, wheat. It's too bad because
No,
I
it's
love it
I
so
mean,
much,
I'm
but
not I don't mean to like laugh at that. I'm just thinking of somebody some like really like I don't even know the type of person who would do this, but like they pull you aside and like I have a confession and this is going to be really hard for me. I'm addicted to gluten. I am addicted to gluten. Like I can't kick it. It's been my whole life.
bro, if there's one person that's going to be telling you this in 10 years, it's me.
I believe in your I think
Yeah.
you've got the internal strength. And also, do you see it as a complete cut like forever?
No, because I love pasta and pizza really way too
Dude, what
much.
about like if we're talking about like lunch or breakfast, are you gonna mix in like if you're making an egg sandwich or something? Are you just going straight eggs?
Yes,
Like
I
no
have
no
cut that.
toast?
It's not, I mean, wheat in general, to not try to get too tinfoil hatty right now,
Oh.
wheat is not good for humans. And so, and it's kind of has addictive qualities and so what I've learned and what I've gleaned is a lot of wheat-based product is highly addictive. Like, if you're eating a box of cereal or like a box of chips or something, like how you can kind of just keep eating.
Yeah.
The reason behind that is it's actually a chemical that like triggers in your brain where our body goes into hibernation, get ready for winter mode when we eat wheat. So if
And
you
then you keep loading it
yes,
on
it turns
because
off kind of like I don't even know what like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not gonna be the guy that you should go to for any of this
you
advice.
might get offered scientist jobs after talking about that. I consider me tinfoiled. I'm very concerned about the cereal that I have in my apartment right now.
End of the day is, Charlie, next time you're eating some Captain Crunch, your body's gonna wanna get ready for winter, and you're gonna maybe reach for another bowl.
Dude, I know I will. I have such an affinity for cereal. Like I could eat a box of cereal easily in like one sitting.
I used
Like
to
it's
back in the day. Lucky Charms.
Hey, I'm happy you could kick it. I'm
I
still
had
I'm still
one
fighting the
one
demons.
hockey coach. He didn't even coach us hockey. He was our dry land training, meaning lifting weights. And we were all in high school, so everybody's metabolism was just sick, right? You could eat anything and you couldn't keep it on. We were working out all the time. And his whole philosophy was you need to get huge. And his whole thing was eat whatever you want, just put on mass.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
listen to
maybe
that and I
maybe in
go,
high school.
yes. And so I found this rich and creamy mac and cheese that I really liked. I think it was Kraft.
Dude,
And I would make it after hockey practice at night at like 10:30 p.m. Like I'd shower and then come down and I'd make a rich and creamy mac and cheese. And then I was also making a protein shake. All in, the calories combined on both of those was 2,500. So I would basically come back from practice and then eat 2,500 calories and then go to bed.
that's what's wrong with America, John. We have trusted high school leadership pushing onto kids addictive substances. You go home, you just had the time of your life skating around with your buddies, dumping in some goals, having a laugh. And what your coach says is go home and get high on mac and cheese. Go home and addict yourself. And
Go make your
that's
body get ready for winter.
yeah, that's terrible,
Winter
dude.
is coming.
Yeah. And it's coming now. Again, for the for the entire season. It's coming. Well, I suppose literally winter is coming and the hockey season, but yeah, that's concerning. Where the thing I would like, my mind says to push back on with the wheat aspect is in terms of non-fruit carbs, whole wheat I feel like is often considered the healthiest of those. Like if you have like think about like bread. Like I'm not going to go and contend like bread is health. It's pure carbs, but like at the same time for that type of realm, like it's a lot better than like a pancake or like chips, things like that, right? Like do
Should
you, what
be.
about, so if there's an addictive quality to the wheats that are found in cereal and chips and stuff, is the same true of bread?
Yes.
But like super healthy, like multi hyper grain bread that's like for like
Might be a misnomer. I think bread in general is wheat and therefore keeps these components to your brain that like think that that want to get ready for winter.
do you think there is beyond that an aspect to the wheat high that you get that makes you additionally complacent? And is that why we're feeding animals this to keep them under wraps? Like you're just going to fatten up, you're going to eat your wheat, you're not going to cause problems on the farm. Is there a complacency aspect?
I mean, you really just said I think the point a lot of these scientists are going to make is why do you feed animals wheat? We should probably take these tinfoil hats off and
Yeah, it's fun to wear tinfoil sometimes. I don't know. I like your food theories and your food learnings. I'm learning a lot. I I might have to go do my own research after, but I'm learning. I think our listeners are getting a huge benefit right now.
I hope they are. Yeah. So for all the listeners out there, just don't drink soda. I think like you can eat whatever food you want. Just don't drink soda. It's
Yeah.
so bad for you. It's just not. You're doing nothing but wrong onto your body.
All right. So tinfoil off. Well, that was post tinfoil, soda bad. But let's move to back to roommate stories. Last week we left ourselves. We didn't give ourselves enough time, so I want to get back to that and just tie a bow on it. We might have to do some conspiracy theories at some point, though.
I think so. I should come more correct with my anti-wheat agenda.
This is you ready? I'm just gonna throw a counter conspiracy that actually supports your conspiracy. Is just the level of you can confirm anything you want on the internet, like just based on what you're searching. Like I could find an article that tells me whatever I want it to tell me. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So like it's
It's confirmation bias in your Google search, right?
yeah. Zuckerberg wants to keep me complacent and stupid. And I respect it because I don't always want to grow like that much.
Growth is hard.
Yeah, dude, it is. Growth is hard. Growth is hard. Usually takes struggle. Okay, so this does break chronological order here. But in our senior apartment, John and I were living at the James in Madison. Loved it. It was the first year it was built. Ton of fun.
Yep.
And we had two roommates who we will refer to as Boondock and Titus. And I, the way the living situation worked out, I had a Jack and Jill bathroom with Boondock. And you will recall in our previous story, Boondock was the person who got the short end of the stick on us drinking all of his milk. Anyway, Jack and Jill bathroom is it's a bathroom between two rooms, and there is a door into the bathroom in both rooms. And so
Said
we're
differently, like both rooms have access to the bathroom at the same
the
time.
same bathroom. Yes.
You could lock your cohort's door so they can't get in.
To the bathroom though. I can't lock I don't think I could. Maybe I could have locked him out of my room, which would have been good. I remember thinking I can lock him out of the bathroom, but I can't lock him out of my room.
So you had a lock to your bathroom door, but not your.
That sounds like so wrong. It's probably wrong. I don't know. Really, like complaint number one is these walls are paper thin. It's a new construction. They're trying to build it cheap. And Boondock is often like, he's this high achiever IB dude. And he's at the library until the wee hours of the night. And he'll come back at like 3 or 4 a.m. any given day of the week. That's not a Thursday through Saturday when we'd be like drinking and I wouldn't care. But he comes back and he takes a full blast shower, takes a shower, has the speaker going, like not crazy volume, but at the same time, like the volume of the shower alone is enough to wake you up if you're at all a light sleeper. And so that's a piece of frustration. So I'm starting to leave my rest with the shower coming on. And then the torture really begins because he had one of those water flosser things that's weirdly pretty loud. So he's doing that.
Like a
But worst of all,
like that.
yeah, like just buzzing forever. Worst noise issue with the Jack and Jill is then he's actually, this would be maybe pre-shower, but if he was like using the facilities in there to relieve himself, he's sitting on the toilet and going through snap tiles at full volume on his iPhone. So I can like hear this like shitty, I don't even know what would have been on snap tiles at that time, but it's like akin to like you've fallen asleep on a couch and your buddy is blaring Instagram stories
It's
with
like
volume
Daily
right
Mail or
next to you.
something, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like some sort of like lowbrow news coverage or something.
And it sucks. It's like you wake up to something you'd never want to subject yourself to. So that was horrible. And then there was also, I'm not really sure the nature of like the lock issue, but just I felt that there was always an access into my room in a way that I did not like at all. Just like the Jack and Jill bathroom with Boondock was very trying.
Boondock was always curious.
He was a very
He's a
curious
lifetime
cat.
learner, which has benefited him greatly now. But
Yeah, oh yeah,
curious cat.
smart guy. I think he's still got kind of a nose for trouble. Like when he sees a situation that could be bad, he can't help but like reach his hand towards the stove. Like even if
Yeah.
it burns him, like it's like that's interesting. Like let me go take a
He
peek.
likes getting in the mix.
Yeah. And Boondock was also at that same apartment responsible for some of the parties that nobody was on board with, and you just come back to your place and it is completely trashed and like broken stuff and all that. So I mean, like he was a very fun roommate.
After hours upon hours in the library, you do need to find your outlet. But we also had a very bad transgression towards Boondock that we turned into an ongoing joke throughout our time at Madison.
What was that?
Tornado room.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, Boondock. Yeah, please
So
explain.
Boondock, again, as we've alluded to, high achiever, has a taste for the finer things. And actually, this is legit cool. So at Madison, up by the Capitol, which for us is probably a 20-minute walk, like a little bit of an effort, but doable.
And also the kind of semi-opposite direction of where we'd spend a lot of our time out. So it was like you go there on an occasion.
And it's this place called Tornado Room, which is a very high-end steakhouse in Madison by day. And then post 9 p.m., they have a discounted menu where we were able to go and get I think it was a sirloin steak.
Or an au jus sandwich that was just like
Or an au
insane.
jus sandwich, but a sirloin steak that was fantastic, perfectly cooked every time for like
they are
$12,
awesome.
maybe less.
Yeah, super cheap.
Full service restaurant. We'd get a glass
Great
of wine.
cocktails too.
Very
like,
fun.
I mean, this place was tops.
But the whole thing is we went once, maybe twice with Boondock, and we got the whole vibe, but he just loved it.
Oh, he couldn't get enough of Tornado Room. And explain the transgression, because this is the type of thing that I can't even say my younger self would indulge in teasing someone like this, because I still love this type of teasing to somebody.
It's fun for us.
Yeah. Oh, it's not fun. It's not fun for him. And we weren't even really benefiting. It's just, I mean, I suppose in retrospect, it was mean-spirited.
It was mean-spirited, yeah. But basically, we would make these plans with Boondock to go to Tornado Room, and then, without fail, last minute, call it 9:30 p.m. when he gets home from an early night at the library.
Yeah, in order to hit Tornado Room.
It is all excited. Charlie and I have already made dinner and just gotten on with our night.
He walks into us. Dude, we had some horrible kitchen experiments that we did. Do you remember? So there was... there's a lot of good ones of this, but I actually, now that we're on Boondock, there was one time where I was making turkey burgers for Boondock up on the roof of the James. And I was thinking of it like a burger where it wasn't gonna like need a ton of time, but obviously with turkey, it needs to cook all the way through. Like you cannot have a red center on a turkey burger.
Yeah.
And he was hungry, like he had just like lifted, like he wanted the turkey burger. And I was like, well, it's grilled on both sides. Like, it should be good. And he bites into this turkey burger and it is like blood red in the middle, like completely uncooked. But anyway, no, I feel like to get back to the point there, we would absolutely make kind of a soft commitment to go to Tornado Room with no intention of ever honoring it
Yeah.
because there was like the reveal. Like there was something like I feel like he knew what was going on, but at the same time, just kind of like his like, oh, are you guys serious? Like you're telling me you just ate? Like I just got back to go to Tornado Room, and I feel like it wasn't a complete dismissal of him. It wasn't to get him out of our hair. It was more we wanted him to do something that wasn't Tornado Room with us.
Yeah.
Like if it was go to some bar, like go XYZ, it was bad. It was misleading, but it was more to get him in a spot where he really like kind of more on our agenda rather than his own.
Yeah.
I mean, just call a spade a spade. It's like manipulative and like not great roommatery, but it was funny. I enjoyed it. I don't.
You reminded me, just given all of these kitchen experiments that we've done, I had the
Yeah.
slow cooker, and I was always like the mad scientist marinating chicken and whatever.
Oh yeah.
I never paid enough attention to figure out how to use it. This is actually out of school, but probably a year out of school. I wanted to use this slow cooker to make a really good tomato soup. So I go to the store and I buy tomato sauce and I like dump it all into this cooker and it's kind of coming out as like a thick
Are we talking about like
consistency.
a crock pot or are we
It's like
talking
a
about
crock
right
pot.
now?
It looks like
Okay.
that. It's standalone, so you don't have to put it on the stove. Like it's gonna cook on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm like dumping all this tomato sauce in, super excited about my tomato soup, freestyled it. Like I didn't even consult a recipe.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. I invite Lindy over, and it was me, and then it was also the guy that convinced you to run Grandma's marathon and then backed out.
Yeah. Enemy of the podcast. We'll
Enemy of
call
the
him.
podcast. He'll remain nameless.
Yeah, just nameless snake.
But you'll like this story then, because the punchline is he leaves unsatisfied.
Good.
So, anyways, he catches wind that I'm making this tomato soup. He smells it. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is good. Like, count me in." So the other component to this dinner is grilled cheese. I'm kind of burning him. I'm not doing the best job with this grilled cheese, but I'm managing this whole slow cooker process. So, my head's in a few different directions. The grilled cheese come out a little burnt, but I'm like, look, it's melted American cheese in the middle. That can't possibly go wrong. It's butter on bread
Yeah.
and cheese. That's amazing. So they're going to
Should
be
be
fine,
good.
especially once they dunk it into my really tasty tomato soup. I serve up the tomato soup. It's like really thick. It is not looking how I had imagined it would look.
But as a chef, you trusted yourself enough to say, we're ready to plate now.
Freestyling. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So
Good.
this thick soup is getting dumped into their bowls. They got their burnt grilled cheese next to them. I think it was Lindy. She takes her first bite of tomato soup and like almost spits it out.
Oh no.
Because
Dude.
what I had actually made was thick marinara sauce. I had grabbed the raw
No, dude.
marinara sauce is pre-salted, and so I salted the living daylights out of this.
God.
I tried it, it was inedible. That was the last time I ever cooked in that thing. I don't trust it at all. I don't even know if I still own it.
Even though the ingredients that went into it were wrong, it was perhaps the fault of the crock pot. And we're actually unfortunately going to have to come back again to roommate things, but hopefully I can fit this in. One other thing, just in terms of cooking experiments, and this is not my own, but this is one that impacted me as a child. Is I was having one of my first sleepovers with like a middle school classmate, and my dad was in charge of making breakfast for us the next morning. And so he makes pancakes. That's a crowd pleaser on a Saturday. Everybody loves it. But he did it with a twist. Unclear if this was intentional, but he played it off like it was. put in Southwest style egg beaters, so it has like jalapenos
Ooh.
and like
No.
all sorts of peppers in it. And then he goes like this. This is kind of an interesting pancake because you could use syrup like you're accustomed to, or you could put a little salsa on it.
No.
And then so I'm like naturally like I'm expecting a sweet fluffy pancake. What the hell is this?
That is
This
so
garbage.
gross.
And then he goes, it's actually not bad. Ask your friend. And the reason that my friend was saying it's good is he had told my friend for every pancake he eats, he will give him $5. And so my friend, but the caveat and the important thing there is he can't go and renege and say they're actually shitty. I'm just eating them for the money. And so, like, kind of running bit for a long time now is he'll talk to me about how good those pancakes were because he put down like 6 cakes. Like he made $30,
Cool,
which makes a
30.
difference when you're in middle school. But okay, that is insane. We only got through one
I know. One story.
story
That
about
was like the main thing we were planning to talk about.
trying
But
to do today. Okay.
well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. I feel like we went off tangent after tangent, but I had fun, Charlie.
Yeah, I had fun too.
This
I
was
had
a
fun
fun
too.
one.
I hope the listeners had fun. And as we continue to put out episodes, we have to say thank you to everybody for following along and supporting us. If it's via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, MySpace, wherever you're listening to
Let us know you're
your
listening
podcast.
too. Like send us
Yeah,
text. Like we love it. We
And, like,
love
YouTube as
interacting with
well.
people that are listening. It's fun. It keeps it light. Also, shout out La Granja, Verdejo and Viura. I do think
Dude,
that this is a
look
very
at this, Sean.
serviceable white wine for oh yeah, I put it back too. Don't even worry.
There's some damage. I am planning on being out and about, so I had some incentive. But the other thing that I would ask of the listeners, and also to shout out a listener, we got the bad roommate thing from a listener. And so again, if there's anything you're interested in, whether or not you think we have any ability to weigh in on it, let us know. Reach out to us, shoot us a DM, comment it on an Instagram post, comment it on YouTube. It's super fun for us to try and give you what you want to hear. So, and it makes us think at the limited capacity we can. So, So anyway, thank you everybody for listening, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yep. See you guys.